Hey, good evening, and welcome to Daf Yomi, Maseches Megillah, Daf Yud Beis, number 12. It is Motzei Shabbos. Really, today's Daf is Yud Gimel, 13, but we'll try to do two Dafim tonight. Today is also a prominent holiday celebrated in the world. Obviously, it's not a Jewish holiday, but happens to be that day. It's interesting this year it falls out on Shabbos, so you don't really hear too much about it, especially in Israel. You don't hear too much about it because Christians are a minority here in Israel. America is predominantly a Christian country. All right, let's start on top of Yud Beis Amud Aleph. First words. Tani Nami Hachi. We learned on Daf Yud Aleph that there was a miscalculation of the years because Shanim Mikutos Habu, meaning Belshazzar and not Belshazzar, Evil Murdoch and Nebuchadnezzar's years overlapped and they were counted twice. Also Dariavish the first and Koresh, their years overlapped. So the Bryce approves that one of the years overlapped. Ochana Acheres is Bavel, Nebuchadnezzar and Evil Murdoch were the kings from Bavel. Of Dariavish Shlima. There was really an extra year because really the years overlapped, so it counted a year twice. And Dariavish, who was after Achashverosh's son of Achashverosh and Esther, he came and filled up that year of the 70 years. He actually filled the second year, the year of Koresh and Dariavish, the first one. Whereas Zamarava, Av Daniel, but even Daniel made a mistake calculating the 70 years. The first year of the kingdom, I looked into, I investigated in the actual books. The fact that he contemplated it means he made a mistake. Sounds like he made a mistake. The Gemara asks, doesn't make any sense. The psukim don't make any sense. Hakiksiv most of Bavel. It says 70 years after Bavel their kingdom takes over, Nebuchadnezzar came to power. V'chsiv the Charos Yerushalayim, and it's 70 years to Yerushalayim was destroyed, which was 18 years later. Amarava lepkida ba'alma. 19 years later. Amarava lepkida ba'alma. When it says Mlos leBavel from the 70 years from the kingdom of Bavel, that is talking about when Hashem is going to remember Klal Yisrael, and that actually happened in the days of Koresh, who ruled before Achashverosh, that he temporarily allowed them to go up and build a Beis Hamikdash. And at one point he stopped them from doing that, from further going up and building it. That's what it says. Komar Koresh Melech Paras Kol Melechos Haaretz Nasan Hashem Elokei Hashemayim Hu. He said this is his proclamation. He said, go build a Beis Hamikdash. An interesting pasuk here. It says Hashem said to Mashiach, who is Koresh. Sounds like Koresh was the Mashiach. Koresh Mashiach? Was Koresh really Mashiach? El Amali HaKadosh Baruch Hu Mashiach. Hashem said, so to speak, to Mashiach. Hashem spoke to Mashiach. Was Mashiach around the time of Achashverosh? When was Achashverosh happening? Did it ever happen? Has it happened yet? We do not know the answer to this, do we? I mean, if you look, there are certain Sfarim written about this that it's very hard to, in the annals of secular knowledge, there doesn't seem to be much talk about Achashverosh. I mean, there's conflicts whether he was Xerxes or anti-Xerxes or it never really mentions in the annals of other countries of the kingdoms the story of Achashverosh. Is, with Vashti and Esther and Mordechai and Haman, it's prominently left out. So, did it really happen yet? It says, I think the Rambam says, all the Yom Tov is Batal Moshe Mashiach except Purim. I'll tell you, my opinion is that Purim didn't really happen yet. Achashverosh is going to be in power. All right, that's the been seeing with tonight. That's my opinion. I can have an opinion about that. Doesn't say, listen, everything was Nevuah. All these Svarim were Nevuahs. Some of them happened, some of them didn't happen yet. Um, it says the Mashiach, Koresh Achzati B'Bina V'Chi Koresh Mashiach. Was Koresh actually Mashiach? Ella Amalek Hashbarach Mashiach. Hashem said to Mashiach, Kol Ani Lecha Al Koresh. I'm upset with Koresh. Ani Amarti Hu Yivnei Beis Equals Kal Yusai. I said to Koresh, he'll gather the exiles, he'll build the base of Mikdash. Walmart Mibachan Mikol Amo Vayal. When he allowed them to build the base of Mikdash, he just said, whoever wants to go, go. He didn't lead them. He should have led them to Eretz Yisrael and personally restore the base of Mikdash. Chel Paras Umada Paras Umim. First it says, one pasuk says that Paras, Paris, Paris was before Madai. And one pasuk says that Madai is before Paris. These two nations, Paris, Media. There's a place in Italy, I think it's called, I forgot the exact name. It's similar to Media or Media. You have to look this up. There's a place in Italy similar to the word Madai. They made a treaty between them. If we're the kings, you'll be the governors. If we're the kings, and the other one is the kings, then you'll be the governors. Also, as Oshak for Malchusa, the Gemara is Darshan Megillah. Amar Yosef Chanina Malamed Shalavish Bigdei Kuna. Achashverosh actually wore the clothes of the Kuna. Ksiv Hacha Yikar Tferes Glosa. Ksiv Hasa Mechfodo Tzivaras. It says Tiferes by Achashverosh, and it says the Chvodo Tzivaras by Bigdei Kuna. So you see, he wore Bigdei Kuna. Mlosa Yalma Ela Rav Shmuel Charmar Melch P'Keach Haya v'Charmar Melch Tibei Shaya. It says in the pasuk that he first made overtures to other kingdoms, to come, other countries, not his own Shushan, I guess where he lived in Iran, let's say, to other countries to come join him at his party, and then he made overtures to his local people. So they have machlokas in Rav and Shmuel. One says he was a smart king by doing this. One says he was foolish for doing this. He was a smart king. The Kavrchi. He made an entreaty to the foreigners. The Bnei Maaseh, the people, the local people. He could always run under his control. He was always able to appease them and tell them to come and support him. The one who says he was foolish. He should have first, made overtures to his local people. The Mardube Hanach Hani Habukaim Madei. If foreigners rebelled against him, at least his local people would be there to support him. Shalu Talmidim Shimon Yochai. The Talmidim asked Shimon Yochai, Mipnei Man Yischaibu Sanin Shayshal Shalos Ador Klaya. Why was there a Gzeira? How could there have been a Gzeira of destruction for all the Jews in the generation? Why did they do so bad? Amruatem. He said back to them, you tell me the pshat. They said because they partook of the feast of Achashverosh's Suda, even though maybe it was kosher, but it was goyish. He said back to them, in Shushan they should be killed, but the whole world, there was an edict against all the Jews in all the nations to be killed out. So why do they deserve to be destroyed? Amrulo Emorata. So the Talmidim said to Rosh Hashanah, you tell us what's the reason. In the days of Nebuchadnezzar, they bowed down to Nebuchadnezzar, to the statue of Nebuchadnezzar. So he said to him, if they really committed this avodah zarah, bowing down to Nebuchadnezzar, how could it have worked out that they weren't killed? They should have been destroyed. Amar lahem, heim lo'asu el leponim. Af HaKadosh Baruch Hu lo'asei mon el leponim. They only did it outwardly. Inwardly, they remained loyal and steadfast to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Only outwardly they did that avodah zarah. Hainu d'chsev ki lo ana melibo. It's only he didn't answer from his heart. Only if inwardly you do that avodah zarah, then you're responsible. If it's only outside, that's not as stringent, as terrible. Chatzer ginas beitan hamelech. It says Chatzer Gina. Chatzer is a courtyard. Gina is a garden. Beitan is the actual house, the palace. Hamelech Rav Shmuel Chanamar Haroy lechatzer lechatzer. Someone who was fit wasn't as prominent, that wasn't so as noble, his place was in the chatzar, roy legina legina. If you were more chashuv, you're more important, then you'd be invited to enjoy the suda in the feast in the garden right outside the palace. Roy lebeitam, the most important people, the VIPs, were invited into the palace. A different opinion says, one opinion says that he put them originally everyone in the court. There were too many people, so he extended people into the garden. But again, that did not hold all the people. Until he extended people entering even into the palace. In the Bryce it says Shiva b'chatzar. Originally he sat there in the chatzar. And he opened up two entries. If they wanted to go into the palace, they could. If they wanted to stroll in the garden, they could. Chor karpas is my chor. What is chor? Miramar chari chari. It's fine needlework where there's little holes in it. Shmuel Amar milas lavana hitzia lahem. White wool he spread out. I'm going to see on top of the couches. Karpas. Amar yosef karim shal pasim. On the couches there were pillows of fine wool. Agudei kesav amudei shesh mito zav kesef. There were couches of gold and silver. If you weren't that important, you sat on the silver couch. If you were more prominent, you would sit on the golden one. Chasheresh wouldn't do that because they make people jealous of each other. Really, all the couches were silver, and their feet, like an Italian couch, they have feet to the actual couch. Most couches, you don't see feet setting to the bottom. An Italian design, an Italian sofa has feet at the bottom, so that was made out of gold. Bahad v'sheish, Amar Yossi, Amar Asi, Avonim shemitchotot al ba'alein. These refers to stones. The floor was made of stones that people are very desirous of. Again, in reference to certain fine stones, misnosos, a similar word. People try very hard to get these stones ad maso on the ground. One Rav says that these stones were made in rows on the floor. It's not talking about the floor, it's talking about a special, very precious, let's say diamond, darashma. They put it the kolanan. Anyone knows what the kolanan is? Maybe the biggest diamond, the most valuable diamond in the world. Kuhinor or the kolanan? Which one do you go for? The Kuhinor or the kolanan? You know what those diamonds are. Kolanan, I think, is in the Royal Treasury in England. Kuhinor, I think, is in India. I think so. These are the two biggest diamonds in the world. Kuhinor, it's not known the value. I think the kolanan is valued at about $400 million. It was part of a bigger diamond that was broken into pieces. The biggest piece, it was found in South Africa, I think, the kolanan. The royal palace, the treasury of the Queen of England. It was so bright, it made the room look like it was the afternoon, even when it was the night. Dar means that he took off the sales tax. It should have said they were different, they were special cups. Shonim sounds like they repeated. Amarava, Yatz the boss called Amra, a voice, a female voice. Where is the female voice coming from? Is it, people think it comes from the sky. Does it come from the sky or does it come from you? Yatz the boss called Amra Lehem. He's told all the Jews there, Rishonim, Kalim, they Kalim, Belshazzar, he was destroyed because he used the base of Megillah. Atem shonim b'hem, and you're repeating his offense by using the Kalim and base of Megillah. Rav. It was, the wine was Rav. It was great. Amar Rav, Malamish Kolech Avechad Hishkeu Yayin Shagodol Imenu B'Shonim. Rav means that the age of the wine was aged more than every person. So if you were a 70-year-old man, you got wine that was aged for 75 years. Pretty expensive. Shtia Kedas. Enones, my Kedas. What does it mean with the law? Amar Rav Chanan B'Shor Meir Kedas Shel Torah. It was in line with the laws of the Torah. Madash Shel Torah, just like the laws of the Torah. Chilam Ru Mishtia. Torah advises you to eat more than you drink. Afsudaso shall also Russia achilim merubim mishtia. So too, there was a lot more food than there was actual wine, even though he had great wine there. Ain't onix, there was no forcing. So he made sure Achashverosh to have the wine that was familiar to every person from his country, so they wouldn't be forced to drink wine they weren't accustomed to. Lasos kirson ish v'ish. Amarava lasos kirson Mordechai v'Haman. Mordechai, meaning that the two people that were in charge of the Suda actually were Haman and Mordechai. Ish Yehudi Haman, Ish Sarva Oyev. Sorry, it says Ish Yehudi. Mordechai was called an Ish, and Haman, Ish Sarva Oyev. Haman was called Ish Sarva Oyev. He was an enemy. Gam Vashti Amaka Asam Mishta Noshim, Beis Hamalchus. She also made a party for the woman Beis Hamalchus in the actual palace. Beis Hanashim Yibbayla. She should have normally, I guess, the custom at that time was to have a men's section and a women's section. She should have made it in the women's section. It sounds like she actually intermingled the men and the women. Amar Rav Shtein Dvaravernis Kavna Achashverosh and Vashti both were immoral, and they wanted to intermingle the men and the women. Bekari is the Botzini, a man with pumpkins, a woman with smaller pumpkins. They both had the same ideas. Top of Yud Beis on the base. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was good with wine, he was drinking for 7 days. He probably felt good before 7th day. Shvi was actually a reference to the 7th to the Shabbos. The signal that Jews normally on Shabbos, they eat and drink, and they start talking divrei Torah and praises of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Aval Odei Chavim, what do? When they eat and drink, they start talking about tiflis, sexual stuff. And Achashverosh was called a Russia, also Russia. At that time he was a Russia. The people at his party were saying from the media, people in the media, and the movies, they're the nicest looking ones. Well, I'm in Parsios now. Some people say I'm from Paris. Paris has the nicest woman. Amar Lam Achashverosh said to him, please name Shtamish Bo, my wife, Eno Lo Madai Velo Parsi, she's not in the media, she's not from Paris. Ella Kasti, she's a Chaldean. She's whatever that means. You want to see her? And she was the granddaughter of Nebuchadnezzar. Amulo, and they said, yes, we want to see her naked. She got judged. She was forced to come naked because she did the same thing to the Jewish maidservants that served her. She made them go naked and do malach on Shabbos to fix up our palace. It's a double usher. It says what she did, and she was nigzar alek. Shem sha'asta kach nigzar alek. Just like she did, the drasha is just like she did. She made them strip naked and do work. So too, she was forced to come out naked. Hamalka Vashti. Vashti refused to come out naked. Michti pritzasa havai. She was a para prutza. She liked going out naked. We just said both of them wanted to commit a moral act, to have a moral immorality at the party. By the time why didn't she go? So punishment, she had saras grow on her body, lesions. A different shot in the Bryce, she actually got a tail. He got very angry. And my doctor begged cool. Why she got angry that he didn't come? Why she didn't come? Why did he get so angry? Why was it sounds like there's something else that made him angry? She obviously wanted a pretext why she wasn't coming. She didn't want to tell him I have a tail. So she said, Bararuri da Abba, you're like the stable boy of my father. Abba, her father's Belshazzar. Abba, the Shlakaba Alpa Chamre Shasi below Ravi. He could drink what 1,000 people could drink, and he would have become drunk. You, simple Achashverosh, you drink a little bit, and you became drunk already. He got very angry. The Melech said to the wise people, Man Chacham, who are the Chachamim? Rabbanan, the Rabbanan. Yodei Aitim, They're the knowers of the time. They know how to intercalculate the months and figure out how the lunar cycle coincides with the solar cycle in order to make 7 out of 19 years a leap year in the Jewish calendar. Amalu Dainuli, they said he had to the Rabbanan, judge her whether I should kill her or not. Amru Hechinavis, the Rabbanan said to themselves, what should we do? Namely, Katla, if we say kill her, Lamachar, Pasikli, Chamre, Ubayel, Aminon, he's not going to be drunk tomorrow. He's going to want his wife back. Namely, Shafka, we say right now, leave her alone. Kamazaz Malchusa. It's causing a bizarre, a disgrace to the kingdom. Amrulom, Yom Shachar Beis Hamikdash V'Galim Yartzeinu Nitla Eitzim Mimenu. So they got out of it. They said from the time Beis Hamikdash was destroyed and we were exiled, we don't have know how to give proper advice. We don't know how to judge capital cases. Zil Gabe Ammon Moav, the Yasib Duchtayu, Kichamra, the Yasib Adu Daye, go to Ammon Moav. Ammon is Jordan, Moab, whatever. The Yasib Duchtayu, that they sat in their place. Kichamra, Yasib Adu Daye, like wine sits on the sediment. The Taima, it doesn't get shaken up. The Taima, Amrule, and he also gave a pasuk to see Shana Moab Minura V'Shoket Al Shamara. Moab was calm from his youth. He's sitting on his sediments. He wasn't poured from cup to cup. It didn't go into exile, so therefore it has good taste, and its smell was not lessened. So he went, because of what they told him, he went to the non-Jewish advisors. Amar Levi called pasuk Gazel Shum Karbonos Nemar. This is all. There's hints in this pasuk. He names these 7 officers that were giving him advice. These 7 wise people. Reference to the Karbonos that the Malach Yashare said favorable things for Klal Yisrael. Karshna Amar Malach Yashar Tefnei Hakadosh Baruch Hu. The Malachim said to Hashem, Rebbeinu Shalom, Klumik Rilu V'Necha Karim B'nei Shana. Did they bring sheep that first year sheep? Like Klal Yisrael brings first year sheep for the Korban Pesach. Shesar Klum Krivel Vanecha Shtei Turin. Do they bring 2 turtle doves, which is one of the korbanos? Admasta Klum Bano Vanecha Mizbeach Adama. They built for you like Klal Yisrael Mizbeach made out of Adama, which Klal Yisrael did. Tarshish Klum Shimshul Vanecha B'Dei Kahuna. Do they serve you in the priestly garments? Tzib Behu Tarshish V'Sholom Vayashpeh. Tarshish is one of the stones in the Choshen HaMishpan. Meres Kulum Klum Yirsu B'Dam L'Fanecha. Do they stir the blood in front of you? Which we have to do our korban. Mersen Klum Yirsu B'Menachas V'Necha. Do they stir a korban mincha in front of you? Muchan Klum Mechinu Shulchan V'Necha. Do they set up a table, Shulchan Lechem upon him in front of you? Vayomer Muchan. Muchan, who was the last officer, he spoke up first. Muchan Zeh Haman. Who was Muchan? He was Haman. V'lam Nikra Shmo Muchan. Why call Muchan? Shemuchan L'Parnas, because foretelling that he was destined to be punished. Amar Rav Kahana Mikan Shehedyot Kol His Barosh. See, he was a hedyot. He wasn't a smart person. He jumped up and answered, even though he was the least important of the 7 officers. Liyos Kolish Sorah Rebeso. So one of the advice that he wrote, that every man, Achashverosh wrote, that every man should be ruled in his house. Amarava, it's because of these first letters that he sent out, so therefore it saved Klal Yisrael's life. Because the second letter was to kill the Jews, because the first letter didn't make sense to them, so therefore the second letter they didn't take seriously either. What is he telling us? That every man should be in charge of his house. Pshita, feel even someone's bald, not a powerful man, doesn't look so good, he's in charge of his house. Obviously this is true. Everybody knows that. The man's in charge, right? It was true what Achashverosh wrote. Usually the women are in charge of the house. Even my secular cousin here in Israel, Benny Libby, he says he always makes a joke on the phone with me when I speak to him. He says, "My wife, whatever you say, you're right, you're right, you're right." People say that's common refrain. Whatever the wife says, that's what we do. Got to make the wife happy. The Melech had this contest. He wanted to find a new bride. Amar Rav, my dichsiv kol aram yaser b'das v'sil yifos yivolos. Anyone who's wise will act with knowledge, and anyone who's foolish will act foolishly. Kol aram yaser b'das David. That was David. Dichsiv v'yomer lo avada yivachshel adoni hamelech na'arab sula. Said he only asked for one girl to sleep with him, sleep next to him, not to actually be intimate with him. The Torah says, the Navi says he wasn't intimate with her. Narab Sula, come on, the Havale Barta, I see Nahale. Since it was only one person who was going to be next to him, not all of them. So therefore they brought their daughters to them. He had a contest. He slept with all the women, and then he picked which one he wanted. Come on, the Havale Barta, anyone had a daughter wanted to hide from them because they probably weren't going to be picked, and they're going to sleep with Achashverosh. Ish Yehudi Hayab Shushan Ambira, Ish Yemini. It says he was Yehudi, and then it says Yemini, my Kamar. Ili Chusakos, was coming to tell you his Yichus, the Yachsiv Azal Binyamin. We're going to see later, he came from Binyamin, he was descendant of Binyamin. Why doesn't it say all the way to Binyamin? Al Shahani, why these two, Yehudi and Yemini? Tana Kula al Shmo Nikru. They're actually a reference to his power of tefillah. Ben Yair ben Shahir name Shayishav tefillah. So he lit up the eyes of Klal Yisrael with his tefillah. Ben Shimi. It's not a reference to a person. Ben Shashama al tefillah. So the son who Hashem listened to his prayers. Ben Kish Shahikish al Shari Rachamim Beniftechulo. He knocked on the doors of Rachamim, the gates of Rachamim, mercy, and they were open for him. Karla Yehudi. He calls him Yehudi, Amram Yehuda Kasi. So it seems like he came from the tribe of Yehuda. Karla Yemini, and it calls him Yemini, Amram Binyamin Kasi. It sounds like he came from the tribe of Binyamin. Amar Rav Nachman, Mordechai Muchtar Ben Musa Haya. He was someone that had great lineage. Amar Rav Brachan, Amr Yeshua Ben Levi, Aviv Ben Binyamin. How was he great lineage? Aviv Ben Binyamin. His father was tribe of Binyamin. Imam Yehuda, his mother's from Yehuda, so he really lives from both tribes. Rabbanan Amri, one say different shot. Mishpachos Misgara Zubazu. Mishpachos Yehuda Omeres. Ani Garim Demisyal Mordechai. He really was, going to say, from Binyamin. But the Shevet Yehuda had a time, and they said, I caused it, he was born. Yal Mordechai, Lokate David, the Shimi ben Gera. David didn't kill Shimi ben Gera, who was one of the progenitors of Mordechai. Mishpachas Binyamin Amram Minai Kasi. Mishpachas Binyamin said he actually came from our tribe, so we're more connected to him. Rava Amar, Knesset Amar Le'ida, Amra Le'ida Chisa. The Klal Yisrael saw it differently. They weren't happy that Mordechai was born. Ro Masal Yehudi, Mashilim Yemidi. Let's see what the Yehudi, someone from Yehuda did. Mashilim Yemidi. Masal Yehudi, what someone from Yehuda did. That's a reference to Lokatli David, Tabi Gilon Av. Lokatli David, the Shimi, this Yalami named Mordechai. Klal Yisrael was complaining David didn't kill Shimi, and one of the descendants of Shimi was Mordechai. The Mikni Be Haman, he caused Haman to get jealous and aroused. The Mashilim Yemidi. And what did Binyamin do for us? Lokatli Shaul Agag. Shaul, who's from Binyamin, didn't kill Agag. He didn't kill Agag, who was an Amalek. Haman was a descendant of him, the Mitzar Yisrael. He was causing Tsar to Yisrael. Yochanan Amar with all of Binyamin cost. Really, he came from Shev Binyamin. That my Karila Yehudi Ashim Shekafar B'Zara. He was called Yehudi because he rejected Avodah Zarah. Ashkal Kovar Zarah Nikra Yehudi. You'll see if Isi Gurin Yuhadayin. We see from this pasuk, which is talking about Hanani Mishav Azariah, they're called Yehudayin because they were they actually went to Kivshan Eish to reject Avodah Zarah that Nebuchadnezzar wanted to do. He wanted to bow to Avodah Zarah, so they were called Yehudim because they rejected Avodah Zarah. Okay, we're going to stop the shir here. I'll see you in 5 seconds for Daf Yomi.